I was lied to, manipulated, and thrown away like a piece of garbage.
Another employee has come forward, but this one is claiming Mr. Beast stole his idea and didn't compensate him for it. Yesterday, while strolling on YouTube, I came across a video by a creator named Ty Orr, and in this video he claimed that he was hired by Mr. Beast's team to help on the creative side of challenges, but instead was laid off without compensation and his idea stolen from him. Now, I did do a little research after I watched this video, and I'll relay the results later on, but let's see what he has to say.
February 2nd, 2024, I went snowboarding like I normally do, and I got an email in which I thought was a scam. I mean, for real, look at this. Even you would think the same thing if you got a random email saying, Mr. Beast follow-up, when you didn't even remember reaching out in the first place. Whether that's true or not, I certainly don't remember reaching out to him. In my line of work, I work for big-name YouTubers, mostly in the sports niche, but it has its range. I've done videos for House of Highlights, Game Day, Zach TTG, Jesser, Papa Stanimus, Not So Air Jordan, and then I currently edit for MMG. Not to mention I did do the 2022 NFL playoff commercials. So it's pretty normal to have people reach out to me because they seen my work from other creators and all the other work that I've done for them. So when I got this email, I decided to give it a chance. I responded in the email and then I proceeded to post a Facebook post because I was so happy. Everything is dated, and to make sure this information is credible, it helps it set well with you. Pay attention to these days. It's not premeditated, and I obviously had no idea Chris Tyson would be such a perv, so there's no way I would make these posts in advance of like some kind of trick. I also have decided to log into my actual Facebook and show my actual email rather than screenshots, so you know that it's not photoshopped. So on February 2nd, I posted, so I got a job offer from Mr. Beast today. Video call on Monday. Wish your boy luck. So in a nutshell, before we get into all the details, Mr. Beast gave me a fake job, flew me out there to work. I worked my butt off, took all my ideas, sent me home and told me there wasn't a job available, and then proceeded to not only do that, but then to take my ideas, steal, and then make a video. So that's what we're going to be covering here. I mean, we're talking about a billionaire here. If you know who Mr. Beast is, you know exactly what we're talking about. And I can hang up my editing tool set, whatever you want to call it, dude. All that stuff, I'm not even going to be editing for the guy. I'm going to be using my mata. I'm going to be making ideas for him to make videos. I swear to God, that's what my job is. It's not editing. And that's what I got from our meetings was, you know, Mr. Beast, Jimmy, he passes me a piece of paper that says, I blew up the world's most expensive tanks or something. And he gives me a thumbnail that has a picture of him blowing up a tank. And it's my job to make a video out of that. So that was February 8th. On February 13th is when I went to the airport. The post says, years of hard work has led me to this. My heart is pounding out of my chest. And as you can see, I'm flying to Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. The first email I ever got from a guy named Dylan. I can't say his last name, so it will be blurred out for the rest of the video because I just don't want to give out his personal like PI information. So we're gonna keep it on a first name basis, and we're just gonna say Dylan. Dylan sent me an email, and it says in the subject, Mr. Beast follow-up. Hey, thanks for submitting your info to our casting team. We received your submission at this time. We're fully casted for our current videos. That's not what we want to pay attention to. What we want to pay attention to is the second paragraph. Working at Mr. Beast, we are collaborative first, and I was forward your submission. Don't know how you got it, but let's keep going. If you're interested, I would love to chat about your potential full-time or contract role work on Mr. Beast's creative team. February 2nd, 2024 that he sent me the email. It was February 3rd, 2024 that I responded to the email. I wanted to make sure, after I made the post, I was like, oh crap, this actually might be a scam. Let me go back and do some research. And then the next day I was like, you know what? I feel good about this. I don't have to delete my post. So I was able to go ahead and reply to him confidently. Now, this email here is my very first, I guess, direct exploration call, whatever. Basically, me being able to meet them for the very first time, like I said on my Facebook, and like I said before in the email, Monday, February 5th, 2024. My second call was not only with Dylan, but now it has Dylan, Hoodie, and someone named Kara, which I have never met. I've never once met Kara, so you won't hear anything about a Kara in this video. And this took place on Wednesday, February 7th, 2024 at 2:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That was the second call. For another email also on February 7th, 2024, this was directly right after the call I had with Hoodie, Dylan, and Kara. And within that conversation, they basically told me that I needed to make a prompt. And when I say prompt, let me just read the email. Hello, Ty. We would like for you to come in for a vibe check. Vibe check means you come in for a few days to see if you're good, see if you're a good worker, see, you know, people are not going to be annoyed by you, and see if they can move further on with the hiring process. If possible, we'd like for you to come in for 3 days at some point next week. I've got a recruiting coordinator, Leslie, CC'd on this email. She will help you figure out the days which you can make it and handle your travel arrangements. Now, this is the most important email of all. What they want me to do is to do 2 video prompts. Attached, you will find 2 video prompts. Pick one that inspires you the most and document and write out how you envision it. Really let your creativity flow and assume everything is possible. So in each of these prompts, one of them is the world's most dangerous trap room and the other is 24 hours to spend $1 billion. I went with the world's most dangerous trap room because spending $1 billion in 24 hours just seems kind of boring and quite frankly linear. I think I have more creativeness than that. That's just not something I want to do. And then like we mentioned before, this is Leslie sending me an email. Thanks, Ty. Are you able to fly in on Tuesday, be on office Wednesday through Friday, and fly back out on Saturday morning? Of course, I said yes, and she gave me all my travel info. So now we're gonna get into like the more just deep in the details here. So like I said, if I don't show proof, don't assume that I'm telling the truth. If I don't show proof for everything that I'm saying, assume that I'm literally lying about everything that I'm saying, okay? So in that email, it did say, I realized that the footage was kind of cloudy when it comes to OBS and recording the screen, so I will put screenshots of those messages up there. But in the email, it did say that I had those 2 prompts, and the 2 prompts was something about spending $1 billion in a day in 24 hours, and the other one was the world's most dangerous trap rooms. So we're taking a look right here. I have the prompt, and it says the world's most dangerous trap room. And in my intro, I have PT hallway, I have the elevator, I have the Squid Games glass challenge, I have bloodthirst, and I have mole maze. And within these things in my prompt, I do have like variations. So first one, I see the variation. So right here, underneath elevator, I wrote one thing. The ultimate goal is to escape the elevator before it reaches the top floor and the bottom falls out beneath you. But I also have a second variation. Pick, lock, tool, groove, chain in the wall. Goal is the same except the elevator moves a little faster. Move the chain, object, lock, pick, tool to unlock the locks on the roof and the elevator reaches the top. So you ever play those games where there's like a little plastic thing and has grooves all over? It's like a maze and you gotta move that ball through. Well, essentially that's what I did for this video, except you're chained to the thing and you gotta move the ball through the grooves with the key that has a key on it so you can reach one lock. And there's locks on each 4 corners of the elevator. So when you get this lock, now you gotta go through the maze again. And now you gotta go and take this lock out and lock that so you can escape the elevator. If you don't, the whole thing just plummets to the ground. I thought that was a pretty dope idea, right? So I did that, but I also made 2 of them because I wanted to make a variation of it. So also here in Squid Games, that was another thing. I made a different variation of what was already done, and I did that. That was part of my pitch. Now, well, let's keep going down because I think it's somewhere around. It's the Squid Games one right here. In the second variation of the Squid Games, I say Mario style. Floating obstacle course. Instead of using floating blocks, which is impossible, we will use floating rack hoisted by 4 cranes. Floating rack hoisted 200 feet in the air. Each section of the obstacle course will change depending on the distance made. Start from one platform to another to advance. Safety harness will be eliminated due to the net underneath the platform. Now, with that, so we have an idea that I want to do. Multiple different like studios. Studios as in workshops where you work at, creative, thumbnail, editing, ideation, all these things, right? So they take me to, for legal purposes, for legal reasons, I will say Studio 1. Studio 1 of creative. I go to Studio 1, you know, whatever, it's all right. We're working on the video. We're doing the, in 10 minutes, like actual 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, this video explodes. And I mean, this building explodes. I worked on that for a little bit. Wasn't really feeling it. Wasn't really my jam. We went out. I will put a little video up here of me working on like a little laser challenge for that. It wasn't really my jam. Wasn't really that good at all either anyway, if I'm being honest. So I went to the next one. And by the way, I'm sorry, I'm skipping all over the place. This was actually the second day of me being there because the first day I spent my entire day in my hotel, which was boring, but for whatever reasons, I couldn't go in the first day, so I spent the first day in my hotel. The second day is when I would start, going to these workshops. On the third day, I was told to go to a different studio. We'll say Studio 2. And I'm working on a video, and the video is, what was the video's name? It was another one that had nothing to do with anything. Anyways, I go through the whole day, or well, I say a good portion of the day, about 5 hours. So around like 2:00 p.m., there's a guy named Hoodie. Hoodie, it was also in one of the emails earlier. And he's like, and when it comes to chain of command, I think he's 3rd in chain of command total. So you have Mr. Beast, you have Tyler, you have Jackson the head writer, and then you have Hoodie. And Hoodie was in charge of all these things. I actually had my vibe check call with Hoodie. I had my second call with Hoodie. I was in contact with Hoodie and Leslie, the coordinator, if you remember that. And everything was going through Hoodie. The guy's a great guy. He's a great guy. He took care of me. He really like gave me great information, great feedback. So as I'm going through this video, I want you guys to remember, I'm not attacking these people. I'm attacking the company, because whatever happens in the company is a reflection of Mr. Beast. It's not a reflection of the people who are doing the things like what they're doing. Your company is a reflection of what happens. It doesn't matter who does it. If your company is ran that way, it is a reflection of you. You got to take responsibility here. So I do my pitch, and Hoodie says, you know what? I want you to go shadow some people for the rest of the day. I want you to go work with this team and see how you can contribute to them. So let's break down the positions in the Mr. Beast company. You have C1. C1 is the head person of that department. So if you're in creative, you're C1. So creative, studio 1, C1. So there's creative studio 2, there's a C1 for that. Creative studio 3, there's a C1 for that. Then ideation, Studio 1, C1. Ideation, Studio 2, same thing. They're just levels. They're just the head honcho of that department. And then within that, you also have a C2 and a C3. Now we are getting to the part where you finally can understand why I'm so mad, so upset that I got scammed. I got absolutely scammed by the biggest YouTuber in the entire world. This is where you're gonna find out why I was upset. Now it's gonna come full circle. I'm gonna have to tell you everything. We're working on the video, World's Most Dangerous Obstacle Course, and I want to show some videos and proof of what I did. From here on out, I'm gonna start speaking more theoretically so I don't get sued. So there may or may not have walls in the Mr. Beast studio where they're all dry erase marker, where you can just write anything. So if you have an idea, you're like, oh crap, I don't want to forget it, right on the wall. This is a picture of my pitch that I wrote. So you see right here, you get really close. Bloodthirst. Let's see. Elevator. Let's get even get close. Glass challenge right here. PT hallway. Sound familiar? It's my prompt. So this is what I pitched to Hoodie. This is what I pitched to Hoodie. And I didn't put my variations in there. I just put the ones that I wanted. And I verbally said my variations just in case they didn't like my original ones. This is the World's Most Dangerous Obstacle Course. So C1 has been working on this with me and the other guy, I don't know his name, and we're working on, like, as you can see, the intro, the hook, the money mechanic. Right here, we're looking at, this is the most important part, it's just rooms. When I saw rooms, when we were brainstorming rooms, I'm like, dang, okay, rooms. I just did a prompt on the World's Dangerous trap rooms. This is perfect. I can do this. It doesn't exactly follow the obstacle course, so I can kind of use my room idea with this. I mean, if you look at all these ideas, whatever, it doesn't matter. The one thing that I'm looking at the most is all the way at the bottom. It looked like it says Marlo, but it says Mario. Mario is my was my idea. I'm inspired by Mario because my kids love the Mario movie. They love it so much they named my dog Mario. Hold on. Mario, come here. Good boy. This is Mario, my dog. Living proof that my kids named my dog Mario because they love the movie Mario so much. So I was inspired by that. And I think I put that in my prompt as well. If anyone's ever seen Mario, they have the floating blocks. And I wanted to see how I can make an obstacle course with those floating blocks. I thought about it and I thought about it and I thought about it and I realized it's just impossible to make floating blocks in the air. I don't know how you would do it. Logistically, it's just not gonna work, and physically, I don't think it would work either. So I came up with the idea with a trellis net, or I came out with the deal with the truss. Taking a look at this picture right here. So this was my idea here. I wanted to make an obstacle course in the air, but like somehow incorporate it with the Mario idea. Somehow just, I don't know, somehow do that. This is a picture that I drew for this pitch for this idea. And I realized that, you know what? I couldn't do the floating blocks, so I wanted to make sure I can do it another way. So I had an idea of a truss with 4 cranes holding it up, and I wanted to be able to go across it. That was just the first section of it. Because if you look a little bit more to the right of this picture, there's like a helicopter and a guy hanging from a ladder, and there's platforms down here, 1, 2, and 3. There's platforms right there. That was just the first section of it. I wanted the intro of the video to be something so outlandish, so crazy that they just a viewer had to keep watching. I did steal the no net at the bottom. I call it a net, or no, not no net, a net down there. That's why it says a net down there, because it's just a joke that we thought was funny. But I did steal that from one of the other Mac videos. I just figured, why not? It makes it such much of a better video. So I pitched this idea, and they absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. The only person who didn't like it was C1, because it wasn't her idea. So when it came down to our meeting later that day, so we were there for hours and hours and hours, and like I said, there's a hierarchy. There's Mr. Beast, Tyler, Jackson, the head writer, and Hoodie. Well, Jackson comes down there and we're having a meeting at 9 o'clock at night. The meeting goes all the way to midnight, and then they say at the very end, we're gonna need all hands on deck on this. We're gonna need the help. We're gonna need the creativity. We need everyone to pull their weight. Does anyone have anything that's gonna help us, with this? And I told them my idea. I brought up every single thing, not only just this idea, but the rest of the video. They loved it. The budget was originally 1.7 million. That intro alone cost 1.7 million dollars. Just the intro alone. And the reason why I didn't want to bring it up immediately was only because if the budget was 1.7 million and I'm here to prove myself, I can't start with going by over budget. Say, well, it would work, because who they're going to trust? You're going to trust someone who works there for months or weeks, years, or you're going to trust some guy like me that just flew here a couple days ago. So it was a little risky, but they loved it. We stayed to midnight. They freaking loved it. I got a pat in the back. Jackson was excited. Hoodie was excited. The only person who wasn't excited was a C1 that I kind of stepped over, because like they say in the company, it don't matter if you're C1, C2, C3. C3 can be a C2. C2 can be a C1. C1 can be a C3 by tomorrow. All right, so at this point, I've pitched my idea. They love it. They've set a date. They set a location, and now they have a new renewed budget for this video, and everything's great. I'm so happy. I text all my friends. I call everyone. I'm like, yeah, dude. And also, so after all that, I'm feeling great. I got a verbal confirmation that I was good to go. Everything was perfect. I can talk about everything was literally perfect until I got home. And that's when everything started to happen. Unfortunately, we have decided not to move forward with your candidacy at this time. We really appreciate you coming out and vibing with us. We would consider you for a role like this in the future, but timing isn't quite right. And the rest are about receipts. So at first I was like, you know what? Maybe that's true. But then I started to think about it a little bit more. And I didn't want to let it bother me. So I said, hey Dylan, that's a bummer to hear, but I appreciate the opportunity. Maybe another time, like you said. Candidly, may I ask if I presented myself poorly or rubbed the crew wrongly in any way? Talking about here, because I know I did. Also, I sent my receipts, and this is talking about my dog, because I had spent like $400 for my dog to be boarded. Sent all that information. He said, hello Ty, you did not rub anyone the wrong way or present yourself poorly. We're going through some reorganization with the team and are limited on roles we have open for teams. I appreciate you sending a receipt, blah blah blah, whatever. This is where I started to say but I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything at all. Not a single word until I saw this on Twitter. Just uploaded the most insane video we've ever done. Go watch. Take a look at this picture. Take a good hard look at this picture. Does that remind you of anything you've seen so far? Does it remind you of anything you've seen remotely close to it? Or does it look like the exact same thing that I drew? The exact same thing that I pitched? Everything. Do you want to know how much I got paid for that? $0.
So yeah, that's pretty much everything. And like I told you guys, I was able to research the names he gave and confirm their employment with Mr. Beast's company through their LinkedIn accounts. And under Dylan, it says, experienced technical recruiting professional with a passion for putting the best people in the best roles, experienced in video games and production. So maybe this could bring a little validation to his story, I don't know. But hey, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you believe him? And if so, do you think this finally the end of Mr. Beast?